Hi guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I am talking about ways that you can approach your artwork but from a branding point of view. So we've hit real niche factor now, but welcome to my world. So I want to look at 5 different ways you can approach your artwork in the long term from your visual branding point of view. Did you feel like you needed that? Probably not, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, and hopefully you'll find it interesting and it will help in some way. So for me, when I'm advising indie artists, I would have some kind of consistent theme throughout all your artworks. There are definitely bands, large and small, who have just completely different artwork each time. But I would, and you can do that, it's a free country, you can do what you like, but I would just advise some kind of consistency, just because you're trying to gain traction, you're trying to increase your audience, and it just gives them memorable factors and allows them to recognize you easier than if you had completely different things going on every time. So I'm just going to run through some ways you can go about this and artworks that I've picked up on from other artists that I think is done interestingly. Is that even a word? Interestingly. They've done them well. Let's leave it at that. So FKA Twigs, love her. She has the same theme going on and it's sort of developed each time. I've got 2 album artworks I'm going to put on the screen. So you can see there is consistency. You instantly know that's her, but they are still vastly different. They're not going to be confused with one another, but the same theme is going on here. And I really like that. To me, that makes my heart happy, because I think you get what she's about. She's doing her thing. It's completely different to any other artwork and it's consistent throughout the releases. Okay, so that is one way you could go about this. I've then picked Damien Rice, his albums 0 and 9. So this is very similar, but kind of done in a different way. So this is the same kind of theme. He's got the same similar color background with similar styles, illustrations, but there's a bit more variation there. So it's sort of much more developed as time's gone on. So you could see this development continue maybe and end up quite vastly different. Whereas FKA Twigs, I think it would stay more similar. Making sense? Hopefully. So that's the other way. You could have a starting point and then develop it each time, but with that development showing through. So you can see that it's come from you and there are many elements there that are consistent and recognizable as your own. Again, I always say this, but if you haven't done my branding video, there's 2, I'll link them below and up here. You need to get an idea of your visual elements that will be consistent throughout your brand, as well as the other elements of branding, communication, it's all there. Do that first before you even consider anything like artwork, videos, merch. You need to have your brand values, your brand image down first. And then when you're picking your artwork style and how you're going to do it, that will come easier to you because you know exactly what you're about and what you want to do with your visuals and how it represents your music. Hopefully this is all making sense. Please feel free to leave any comments, questions you have in the comments, and I will try to help if it's not clear. Okay, so I think the most obvious one is a photo of the artist. That is maybe the most obvious way you can do artwork. You take a photo of the artist, you put the name on it, you put the song title on, boom. So I'm gonna just show some examples of this. Nicki Minaj. She's been really consistent here, and I actually like this level of consistency, but I do understand that it's too much for some artists, and that's totally fine too. I love how she's got the slick colored backgrounds, but the actual theme changes each time. So you know it's her because there she is, there's her colored background, those consistent elements are there, but were completely different themes. That to me is probably what I would do. Hey doggo. So Tom Walker has a really creative way of doing this. So if you are going to do this, feel free to think outside the box with it. You don't have to just take a photo, boom, artwork. Tom Walker has done something really cool with it. Obviously don't just copy that, but hopefully it can spark more ideas within you. Plus the whole illusion thing of far away, it looks like him, and close up, like that's nice. That's a nice touch. So again, while we're on the subject of the photography of the artist, Madonna and Taylor Swift, obviously these are both very famous pop female artists, so I totally get if that's not your bag, but it would be interesting to look further into this as to whether this is a genre trait, because they both do something very similar, and that is they have their face on each album cover, but that is one of the very few consistent elements. So I'll just put some images up of Madonna, all her artworks, or a lot of her artworks. They all show her face, but they're all very different themes. They obviously adhere straight to that album sound. And I think this is also relevant to these artists being constantly reinventing themselves. Every album, new era, new artwork, but there's still consistent elements there. So it's important to see that even these big artists have consistency throughout, even if they are long-standing and they're constantly reinventing. Each album, different theme, fine. So same Taylor Swift, I'm just gonna put hers on the screen too. A lot of her face, even different genres in here, but there's still those consistent elements. So four, are we even numbering this? Who knows anymore? Another way you can look at this is general photography. The artist does not have to be on the artwork. You could just take a nice photo of something that reflects what you think captures the album. And I think Nirvana is the ultimate example here. That is so iconic, the album artwork, very recognizable. There are more. But yeah, I'm showing that one because it's the most iconic. And if you're going to do this, do not see it as an easy way out. Still give it as much thought as you would if the artwork was going to take a long time and be a very long process. It still has to capture you and that album, even if you are not on it. 5, another way you could look at this is, now I love these album artworks so much, Mr. Scruff. Same artist, but completely standalone images. There's no link from one to the other, there's no development. It's the same artist that he uses, which again is instantly recognizable. You associate that style with him, and he will have whatever image reflects what's going on in the music in that album. So that is another one to look at. You could work on a long-standing basis with a single artist or illustrator, and you explain to them the core of this album or this single, and they come up with an image for that for you. So that's another way you can go about this. I like that one as well, actually. I think it's really nice to have a long-standing relationship with a single artist, and then obviously that artist then becomes known for your artwork. It's cool, it's nice. Teamwork is dreamwork, right? So coming back to the most common, which is having the artist on the album artwork. I can talk, it's fine. If you are going to do that with your band, then I've made a video about how to plan for a photo shoot, and that would be worth checking out because I just look at some other images that artists have done. I tackle what to do if you feel uncomfortable on camera, and how to just be a bit more creative with poses, and how to get the most out of very few resources. So you don't have to have a ton of money, a ton of props, a fancy location. You can do really, really beautiful photos with very little amount of stuff, if you know what you're doing, and there's just little things, little details that you can focus on that really make it go from an okay image to a great image. So that's definitely worth checking out if you want to have your band or you as a solo artist on your album cover. But yeah, I don't know how long this video is going to be, probably not that long, but I hope that's given you something to think about, and how branding and your visual branding image links to your album artwork, and hopefully it will give you some clarification of the process as well, so you don't sort of have an album and then you're like, oh my god, we need artwork, what are we gonna do? Like, hopefully you'll have a plan in place before then, so you know what's happening, you know your brand strategy, and you've got your visuals and your aesthetic down as well. And hopefully the other videos, like the photo shoot video, will give you some tips in the other areas. So yeah, I hope you found it interesting, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.